We've also done some blood test where subjects will come in to an hour meditation, and before they start the meditation, we'll take blood work, and then we'll do an hour meditation, and then immediately after the session, take blood work again, and then compare the two samples. And what we're finding.
Hi, welcome back to Soul Awakenings with Madiha Sosan Podcast. And today we have Ian Morris.
Hello, I'm Ian Morris, and I'm the founder of Listening to Smile. Listening to Smile is a unique sound healing company that specializes in working with holistic practitioners around the world with frequency-minded music.
Hi, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. You messaged me on Instagram a while ago, and it just the messages kind of get lost on online. And then eventually, when the timing's right, I checked it, and there was a message from you. It was like listening to Smile. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I sent you a message, and then we kind of just vibed on a like awesome level. Really, we just clicked together.
Yeah. I love what you're doing, and I just love your energy. And I just always thought that we would have a good conversation. And the things that you're bringing attention to in the world, I just wanted to be a part of that. And I think it's just really neat what you guys are doing. And so, yeah, I just thought it would be kind of a no-brainer to have a open conversation around just the way the world is going and sound healing and just mental health and all the good things,
Yeah,
so.
all the good things like spiritual stuff, because that's how we came together, because we're going to talk about your sound frequencies and music in a bit, but yeah, this is what it's all about, bringing that to the audiences, like where they can gain some knowledge and wisdom from the person really who's sharing knowledge and wisdom. And today we have you, and I can't wait to get diving in into your interview. So let's start off with, because I know who you are, our listeners don't know who you are, so can you explain a bit about who you are, a brief overview for our listeners?
So my name's Ian Morris, and I'm the founder of Listening to Smile. And Listening to Smile is a unique sound healing company. So we specialize with working with holistic practitioners around the world. Everyone from life coaches and hypnotherapists to yoga instructors and massage therapists. Anyone that could utilize music in their line of work, we're there to create a soundtrack for release work and healing. That's what we focus on.
Amazing. So tell me about taking you back, tell me about your childhood. What was your childhood like, your environment?
Yeah, so I grew up mostly playing sports, was a baseball person. And so that was most of my life until high school. And in high school, I was diagnosed with mitral valve prolapse, like it's a valve issue in the heart, and then like a heart arrhythmia. So it really kind of ended my sports career. And so I was kind of left in that 18, 19-year-old dark night of the soul, searching for my identity after that, because you had spent your whole life playing sports. And luckily, my father was a musician and had always surrounded our home in good music. And so that was kind of the next progression as I got into painting and music, playing music instruments about 18, 19 years old. And it became my new thing. I started getting into everything from like the Beatles and Miles Davis and John Coltrane to Bob Dylan and Led Zeppelin. It was just tons of very diverse music that my father subjected me to. And so I slowly started making that progression into becoming a creative person. Excuse me. But yeah. So that was a majority of my life was, sports and then meeting the transition into becoming a creative person.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, being diagnosed, what was your age? What were your age when you were diagnosed with?
I was 17, almost 18 years old.
Right. Okay. So that would definitely take you down in a place where obviously you're just starting your life and you've been diagnosed with something that that can't be. Well, I guess the doctors would probably say you can't be treated, right? You have to manage it.
Well, no, so mitral valve prolapse is as medicine has progressed, it's gotten easier, and sometimes it doesn't even need surgery to correct itself. It usually happens in younger people, under 30. And it was something that for me actually did get better. And I think I started learning more about diet and some of the things that I could do to help it. And it was something that got less and less severe for me. But at the time, it didn't feel that way. It was definitely very scary, to deal with at that time.
Yeah. What were your symptoms? What is the symptoms?
It's basically an irregular heartbeat and like an arrhythmia, sometimes a jumping or a skipping of the heart. And it would happen sometimes when I was being physical. So that kind of made it even more jolting. Um, yeah, so it's just something that it was an intermittent problem and it would never be easy to kind of figure out where it was coming from. And it was just kind of an anxiety producer, so yeah, so it was definitely something that was challenging at that time.
Yeah, and like you've done so well with the diet as well, because I think most people don't realize the diet and the exercise and other holistic things that you can do. Were you always spiritual? Did you start that straight away? You're changing your life in terms of
Yeah,
diet.
no, so after sports, I remember being in Barnes and Noble, and I think this was like probably like 1997, maybe even 96, 97. I can't remember the exact date, but I had picked up a Rumi book in Barnes and Noble, and the cover really jumped out to me. I'd never heard of him before. And what was interesting is when I picked up the book and opened to the first poem, the poem I still remember to this day, it was called In the Arc of Your Mallet by Rumi. And I just remember like tears kind of welling up in my eyes and just feeling a connection to the poetry. And it was the first time that I felt like there was more to life than being a jock. Like it was like more than just being sports and competitiveness, and there was something deeper in that poem. And so it was something that I just really dove into. And I started getting into like Khalil Gibran and Rumi and Hafez and a lot of the Sufi poets. And it was just something that was just really, really powerful. And I think it marked the shift of me from that sports based person into this more compassionate, sensitive, loving person that the poetry really opened up a different side. And that was really the start of like becoming more spiritual, was what that poetry opened up to me.
So I think there's something about these quotes are just really beautiful because your camera's gone. Right.
Sorry.
It's all right, don't worry. Like I said, like there's something if you're a deep, sensitive, feeling kind of person, there's really something profound about these quotes because they hit deep. Because some people would just listen to it or read it and it would stay on a kind of surface level. Okay, yeah, I understand it from a logical point of view. But when you really think and feel deeply, it really hits you in the heart and you really understand it really, really in a depth, like, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think in those moments of realization, it's like it's connecting dots that somehow you didn't even know were there. And it's like it creates this new foundation for us to work from. And it just creates a deeper connection to life, I think.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where the musicians and the writers are kind of born, right? Right. This is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You when we had a pre-chat, you talked about other challenges that you faced in your life. So this wasn't just it, there were more challenges. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. After, in my mid 30s, I found myself diagnosed with colon cancer and MS. And I truly believe that German New Medicine, if your listeners are familiar with that, there was a German doctor that was working with colon cancer, and he had a tragedy happen to him and his son. His son was shot by a stray bullet when they were like on a boat dock. I guess somebody dropped a gun or something happened where a bullet hit his son, and his son died in his arms, and it was this very tragic experience for him. And so when that happened, shortly after that, a few months later, he developed colon cancer. And so when that happened, he said, man, all the people that I've been treating, I wonder if they've had a similar traumatic experience like that. And sure enough, he interviewed all of his patients, and all of them had some kind of traumatic event that really, and so he started putting the connection together that these traumatic events were where the colon cancer was coming from. And so it was just something that was really intriguing to me. And so I have come to believe that, if you study like Louise Hay, like she wrote You Can Heal Your Life, in her book, she talks about a lot of the connections between emotional traumas and physical issues and diseases. And so for me, when I found myself with being diagnosed with colon cancer and MS, it was something that I realized that there was so much grief in my life and so much tragedy in my life that I had never really fully grieved or even expressed or released out of my body. And it made perfect sense that there was these physical ailments now to deal with from not dealing with that grief and just having that stagnant energy in my body. And so, but at the time, it was just very traumatic to deal with. It was definitely a dark night of the soul. And I gained a lot of weight leading up to that time. I was about 320 pounds, and it was something where I was depressed and just really sad because sports had been my whole life. And then having that just completely taken away, it was like a dream being shattered. And so it was something really hard to deal with. And so then I found myself in this predicament, being extremely overweight, depressed, and then just having a lot of issues, colon cancer and MS that I was dealing with. And so I got to a point where there was no really option except to try these holistic approaches. And so I had a lot of really great people around me at the time that gave me Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and then another book called The Healing Power of Sound by Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, who was a cancer patient doctor, and he was utilizing sound and singing bowls to work with his patients. And so I dove into both of these books, and it was just such a radical transformation for my psyche to look at the world in a different way and challenge myself to do breath work, meditation, and sound healing to really see if this is something that could work. And sure enough, I mean, it took about a year, but I lost over 110, 115 pounds. I started having just radical transformations, going from hopeless to hopeful, and just making a lot of transitions into a more spiritual, positive, focused life. And it was just those books and the music and the breath work and meditation were just monumental in shifting my psyche. And so a lot of friends and family saw the amount of weight that I lost, and they saw the transformation that my mental state went through. And it was just, they were like, how did you do this again? And they were like, I was like, it's the frequencies, man. It's like, it was like just really kind of pitching that idea that, starting to listen and listening to these different frequencies were helping create new neuro pathways in my brain. giving me new outlooks and perspectives, and it was helping me to make a shift. And I think it started helping other people to see that this could be something viable for them as well. And so slowly I gave birth to Listening to Smile through just the same work I was doing on myself already, and then helping family and friends, and then getting involved with yoga studios and taking it into more of an event space, and then watching the same transformations with different people around me. It was just really profound.
Wow, that is like inspiring story. So that was your point of transformation and kind of an awakening. You know, I normally say
Yes.
that you have to suffer enough before you wake up. And sometimes life throws us all of these challenges. Sometimes we think we can't get out of it, but it's asking you to upgrade. It's asking you to change. It's asking you to do something different than what you're already doing. Which you
Yes.
made that change, right? You made that change shift. It was a wake up call for you.
Yes, definitely. And I think it just completely changed my trajectory of life. Like when I look back, and I think most of the people who have had experiences like this say the same things, where at the time that it was happening, I was just like talking to God, like, why me? Why am I going through this? It just doesn't make any sense. And then, 10 years later, 15 years later, you look back and you see that this was the moment that defined the shift, the transition, the trajectory change that got you set onto a new path. And I just got a testimonial last night from a husband and wife that were talking about the profound effects of my music with them. And I just was thinking at that moment, like, if I would not have gone through those shifts, I would not be in the position where I'm helping, people overcome diseases, people making shifts in their life and radically transforming their lives and people around them. And, I truly owe so much to that moment of that defining, change, to really say thank you to the universe and to life, for making that shift.
Yeah, like I'm smiling because it's something you said um, about us talking to God or universe, or but something out there's like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why is life against me? If God was real, why would you make me suffer? You know that I was in that mentality when I was suffering from, well, my own trauma, but my crippling anxiety and depression to a point I could not leave the house. And that was my thought process. I talk about this in my talks all the time. It's like that period of 10 years when I couldn't even step outside the house, that I was angry, I was shouty, and like, why me? It's that victim mentality, right? Not, it's almost like it's almost like you manifest by asking that question.
Yeah.
Why? And the universe is like, I'll tell you in time.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think if you're okay with it, I'd love to talk about anxiety, because I think it's one of the most crippling things that people can experience. So right now I'm in a size 32 pants, like 32 waist, 32 length, right? When I was at my heaviest, I was in size 48 pants.
Wow.
And what's really interesting is I had anxiety from dealing with that heart arrhythmia, like dealing with that. And I never knew when it was going to come up. So that was the beginning of my anxiety, of like having this crippling anxiety. And then it got to a point where as I gained more weight, I didn't want to see people. So I started shutting myself away even more. And then there were times where I would go into public and there would be, my nervous system would be so taxed that I would be so overwhelmed by noise. And it just got to a point where I never wanted to leave my house. And it was very debilitating, crippling anxiety. And I know if it wasn't for frequency music, I would have never made it back to society. It was one of the biggest things that helped to soothe my nervous system, soothe my heart, soothe my soul, allow me to have a tool that when I would go out into public, I could put my earbuds in, like these wired earbuds, and I would listen to the music whenever I was overwhelmed in a public space, and it slowly started giving me the courage to tackle that fear. And I think that, um, someone had a comment, I don't remember who it was, that said every day we should be tackling one of our fears. And the more that you do that, the less those fears have a hold on you. And I think like to be able to give someone a tool like the music that you can kind of block out and gain confidence in these types of situations with the, debilitating, crippling anxiety is just such a powerful tool. And it's what really helped me reclaim my life.
Yeah, and thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that because, like, obviously, it's not easy. Sometimes when you talk about these things for a while, I can talk about my anxiety either. It was hard because, like you say, it's like a buzzword now, isn't it? Everybody's talking about anxiety, and like the ones who truly, truly experience the darkness of it to a point where you can't leave the house. It's it's unexplainable. You can't describe that feeling that you're feeling. You feel like you're having a heart attack. Like each time, I used to have panic attacks 2, 3 times a day. Each time you're thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. So that's
Yeah.
like every day your nervous system is on survival alert, um, anxious and like bedbound. And like I used to be overweight as well. I used to be quite big when I was going through that. So what I was doing was to numb my emotions, I was binge eating like Burger Kings and the KFCs, and that was almost my diet almost every day. And then I couldn't even sit in front of the mirror because I felt ugly. And it's like
Hmm.
self fulfilling, like self loathing. Like don't want to put myself out there, don't want to talk about myself. So I lock myself in the room and just play games. And that's what makes me feel okay and stable. But it didn't because I was suppressing a lot of emotions.
Yes. Yeah. It's I think it's a darkness that I don't wish on anyone. And
Yeah.
I think the people who are not experiencing it, it's very hard for them to understand how deep it goes for some people. And so I think like most of the people that I know, I'm not a big fan of the word healer, like, because I'm not a healer. I call myself a sound alchemist, right?
Nice.
And so, but the people who are using this music to help themselves heal, um, it's just really powerful to see the connection that music has to the soul. And when that door is open, the amount of healing that can take place and that connection between the listener and the music. And sorry about that. And so yeah, so basically the the music is just such a doorway and a gateway to that healing and the creativity that is expressed from the musician, and then the emotional components that the listener can take from that connection is just such a powerful tool for people. And I think for me, um, as a creator, it has such a release work and a healing and doing that creation process, but also as a listener, this music is really channeled through me. So when I'm listening to the music, sometimes I go back and listen to things and I'm just as surprised as the listeners are, because it's just such an experience that is being channeled through me. It's a powerful experience. It's really neat to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah, I can resonate as well. Like, whenever I journal, I can't journal without any sort of instrumental music in the background. I have to listen to it. So my creative, it's like it opens the doorways to your brain where the creative flows.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting because like when I interviewed Mr. Bob Dole from The Secret, and he was talking about the rewiring your brain. And I was telling him a story about manifesting my life. So when I was in that, that dark place, I was putting music on, and I would used to walk around my room, visioning, imagining the life that I wanted. And I didn't even know like anything about law of attraction, nothing, not spiritual atheist, just trying to escape the from the darkness. And like several years later, I had my spiritual awakening. And then I kind of let it go because it was like for 4 years I was doing that every single day. It was had my happy place, and then let it go. Several years later, I had my spiritual awakening, and everything that I was imagining came into fruition. It's
That's so
crazy.
cool.
It's so crazy,
Yeah.
but it's that music as well because the universe runs out of frequencies, right? It's what
Yeah.
you're,
Hmm.
and you are a channel yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so neat. I think if people truly knew the power of our thoughts, right? It's
Mm,
like the vocabulary, how we talk to ourselves, right? Like you were saying, sitting in front of the mirror, it was really hard to look at yourself and to feel pretty
mm,
because you were in this cycle, of like the binge eating and then kind of as a way to just get through the day. And then it just kept adding more problems, right? And I can relate to that as well. And I think that when we start realizing the words we say to ourselves, like I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, and we replace that with I am healing now, I'm divinely protected. All these different sayings that are more hopeful and more empowering. It just starts having a change in our frequency, the vibration that we're carrying. And then the change in that vibration starts attracting different things into our lives. And I think it's just something that um, is complex, but it's also very simple. You know what I mean? Like it's just that decision to make the shift from hopeless to hopeful
mm.
can be just such a powerful determining factor in what comes into our lives.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we overcomplicate things as well. It's just simple as that, right? Like we want to be, it's almost like professionals. You have to be perfect at, oh my God, I'm having this negative thought. You panic. And then like, okay, I'm healed. I'm this, right? So
Hmm.
it's like we overcomplicate things, you know. Sometimes it's okay to have those negative emotions as well because they're
It's
there
part of
to kind of be processed because otherwise if you bypassing it it will stay in your body and it will manifest into like illnesses and other physical problems, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. That's really awesome that you brought that up, the spiritual bypassing. I think it's such a an issue today.
Mm.
And so when I'm working with clients, one of the biggest questions is that, well, how do I feel into that vibration if I've never felt it in my life?
Mm.
Right. So, like, I had a client who had always had lack and kind of a poverty mentality. And I told her that I said, I understand, I relate to this, what you're saying. And she was saying, well, if I've never been rich and nobody around me has ever been rich, how do I envision an abundant life? And I said, well, I think that you have to envision what you would like your life to be. I said, I think um, you don't know what it's like to have someone around you or yourself drive a Ferrari, but you understand what a Ferrari is and you understand what you would like to have in your life is more abundance. Maybe it's not a Ferrari, maybe it's a Mercedes, maybe it's a BMW. I don't know. But it's like you envisioning this new life and that you're actually worthy of anything that you feel that you can create and manifest in your life, and then going deeper, for health related issues or a peace and ease. Maybe it's not about struggle anymore. It's about. And so I think like it's coming to terms for me. I had to go through these physical ailments to slow me down, so that I
Mm.
had to stop in my tracks and look at my life and say, this is not what I want,
Mm.
right? I want something more than this. And so there was a learning experience. And I remember Wayne Dyer having a comment that was something like, when you squeeze an orange juice comes out of it, right? And then, like, when you squeeze a person with a high stress situation, whatever comes out of that person is like what's inside of there, right? And if you don't like that, then it's time to make changes with the kind of vibration and internal energy that environment that you're carrying around. And I think that was just always so profound to me. that statement, to really start looking within and to examining my life as to what it is that I really am wanting to create.
Mm. And something like going back to what you said about how do I vision something that I've never seen or felt before, right? And
Yeah.
it hit home because only last couple of months I've actually been going through a bit of a clear out with certain people and friendships, and that kind of triggered a wound or family wound, because it's just me and my mom. I care for my mom, right? And um and everybody else is around me, Madhya, like, you gotta find that within, you gotta find that love within. It's like, yeah, I've been working on that for quite a long time, but I actually do want to feel a family love. Why can't I have a dad? Why can't I have a healthy mom? And why can't I? So it's like, how can I, if you're telling me to love something, how can I love something when I don't know? I've never experienced it in my life on the external either,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I think, I also deal with clients in coaching capacity. And when I'm working with men and women, you'll hear people say, well, I have to love myself. Everyone says I have to love myself. And I'm like, it's very true. But do you understand expressing love to another is very similar to loving yourself, but it's a different experience, right? It means that you're going to show up and love a person when it's not convenient for you, right? And that's a different type of love, like, because I think we love ourselves when it's convenient, right? And I think we do a lot of things in our lives when it's convenient. And so when you're in a relationship, it's almost like you're taking a vow to love a person and to show up for a person even when it's not convenient, right? And it's a kind of trying the best as a human to step into this unconditional love that we're wanting to experience ourselves. And so I think that it's just really interesting, all the multifacets of love, to be a daughter, to be a husband, to be a wife, to be a sister, to all these different facets of how we express love. I think is taught essentially in that family community, family environment. But I also think that the people who don't have those typical traditional family units are also starting to find these new family members in a community based environment. And, probably you're probably experiencing that with some of the team around you for your podcast and just some of the people that are helping you bring your message to the world. And, I've met a lot of people that have become affiliates or investors, or people that have just really believed in what I'm doing with my music, that are not family, but they have become family, through these relationships and open-hearted experiences.
Yeah. I think it's like, it's really important because the community sense, it's what I'm questioning actually right now. As you say that, I'm questioning, because I'm just gonna be vulnerable here because nothing's off limits on this podcast. So basically, we talk about anything. This is why we're authentic and we're real. Is that I've amongst my friends, I've experienced a betrayal, and
Mm,
that just had a ripple effect in the community that I was in, right? So it's like, and then I'm kind of in a stage where I'm realizing that yes, community is important, but community is not forever. So you, sometimes the community comes in, supports you, and then goes, and then there's another community that's a family is born. Because it's not like they're bad or you're good or this, that, the other. It's this, they come in your life for a certain amount of time to support you, upgrade you, and then they go. Something happens where universe puts, like, whether betrayals or whether cheating or whether lying, whether it's just you outgrow each other.
yeah,
Something happens where universe, like, it's time to upgrade to a new level. So that kind of shifted where something died within the last couple of months within me, but it's formed a new connection. And people like us, like we're talking about the podcast, our podcast has gone into studios for the first time, and I've created a little bit of team there. And it's like, what space are you can you free in order for new to come in,
Yeah, yeah. It's something that working with clients, and I think the different ups and downs of health and the different ups and downs of like reinventing yourself, you know, coming from a musician, I mean a sports player into more of a from an athlete into a creative person, and then moving from a creative person into working with nonprofits and children, and then getting into working with clients in a more like clinical or medical sense. Is it's just all these different shifts, and each one had to be made to make more room for something else that was coming in. And I think it's one of the biggest things I love whenever I get a client who is fresh and it's like their first really emotional or physical confrontation with themselves, and you remind them like, I know this feels hard right now because something's being pulled away, but I'm telling you that there's room being made for some amazing thing to step into your life. And I think like it's neat because people who have been through things like we have, and you're able to hold space for someone, it's like it's almost like you're smiling and you're like, you just wait, right? And they're like, I don't know, you know, and you're like, just wait, you know, just wait, it's coming. And so it's like when those things are pulled away and stripped away, it can be so painful. But then, you know, as a person that has walked through these types of things, you can hold space for a person in a way that is just very hopeful, and just helps them to justify some of the things that are, you know, room is being cleared for these new things to come in. And it's just something that is really powerful, you know.
And I think it's like
Yeah.
it's really important. You said that you talked about everything being stripped away because that's where the pain point is. That's why we keep going back to the same situations, because it's that, you know, that you have on one side you have this pain, whatever's happened, and you got to move away from it. But in between the new and the old, there's that void. Ooh, that is painful. That
Yeah.
is really, really painful. And that's why most people run back to the same toxic situations or environments that no longer serve them. But if you can ride out that painful void, and that's where I'm at, I'm being like honest. I'm at that void where it's painful, it's dark. I'm feeling low, I'm feeling sad. But I know that I've been through this many times. I know that at the end of it, I will form a new community, new type of people, and some people who are left in the past might join me in the future, right? So
Yeah.
it's just sometimes when we're in that void, the emotions are so strong that you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's where the work is, healing work is, the emotions. And that's how you learn how to emotionally regulate yourself. You learn how to be self-aware of those emotions. And I think that's where you come into your power during that painful period.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what's forging you in the fire, you know. It's creating that new character that's a bit able to step up and be resilient, and to grow in the ways that are needed so that it can go to the next level, you
Yeah,
know.
it's crazy because like I was saying to somebody the other day that when I'm in pain, I do my like I progress in my life so much. Like when you're in pain, you use your pain as fuel to do something better for yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah. Hey there, healers, wellness warriors, and holistic fans. Exciting news. We've just teamed up with Listening to Smile, a company all about healing through music. Imagine listening to music that doesn't just sound good, but actually makes you feel better. Now, here's the deal. Just listening to that music for 20 minutes a day could make a huge difference to your mind, body, and soul. And guess what? You get 20% off their awesome albums with the code Soul Awakenings. But wait, there's more. Want to improve your practice, earn more, and keep your work safe? then this program is for you. It's all about opening up new possibilities and protecting what you create. So, are you ready to get started? Head over to their website, www.listeningtosmile.com, and let's begin your journey to feeling great. Don't forget to use the code Soul Awakenings to save 20% at checkout. All of these links and the code will be added to the description below. Let's awaken those souls together. So let's say somebody's going through the stress of whatever's happening in their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you, using frequencies, how can you help them to de-stress, to come into that neutral state?
Mm-hmm. So we say that the listening to smile music targets the stress response of the body. So what we're working with is tones that are giving the heart and the brain something to ground to. And so there's what we call enhanced binaural beats that are present in the music that give a pure tone from the start of the track to the ending of the track consistently. So it gives the heart and brain something to attach to ground to grab onto, and to start feeling a soothing feeling. So our music has been shown to lower the heart rate and the brainwave activity within 5 to 8 minutes of being introduced to a subject. And we've also done some blood tests where subjects will come in to an hour meditation, and before they start the meditation, we'll take blood work, and then we'll do an hour meditation, and then immediately after the session, take blood work again, and then compare the two samples. And what we're finding is that the blood, whenever it's first taken beforehand, all the cells are clumped together, and there's a denser blood sample that we're getting from the subjects. And then at the end, after the meditation and the sound bath, the cells are more spread out and they have more room. But we're also seeing that it's pulling heavy metals and toxins out of the blood and tissue, out of the tissue and the cells of the body, and putting that into the bloodstream. And the doctor who was doing this work with us, the reason that he thought this was so interesting is because he said, doing cleanse protocols with this music could actually speed up the process of the filtration. And so he thought somewhere in a 90-day protocol could be cut down to like a 30-day or a 40-day protocol with the sound healing music from listening to smile, with like a parasite cleanse or different cleanses and detoxes to the body. And so these are the kind of things that we're starting to move into, to do some more testing and to see if that is in fact the case. And just doing a lot of neat stuff like that. So really when someone talks to me about my two biggest focuses for healing someone, it is sleep and mindset. And so I think that the music can help regulate the nervous system in a way that helps it to relax and kind of downgrade. And if you did that about 30 minutes before bed, it can only set up a deeper sleep pattern. And then also when you're getting more sleep, 8 or 9 hours a day, you're giving the body the full ability to do the filtration process. A lot of people don't realize that the first 5 hours of your sleep process are really just setting up the different cycles of filtration that come in the last 3 to 4 hours of sleep. So the filtration process goes through and it's cleansing all of the toxins, and then it helps to pull that into the bladder and then to excrete, through urination in the morning. You're basically that's a filtration process that's getting toxins out of the body. But if we're not reaching, like if someone only sleeps 4 hours, that process is not taking place to cleanse those chemicals and toxins out of the body. So when someone sleeps 8 or 9 hours, they're giving their body the ability to heal through that filtration process. So if the music can be a tool to help get longer sleep, better quality of sleep, and then also help regulate that down regulation just before bed, like 30 minutes before, that could be the biggest thing that a person could do with this music to help themselves heal. And then the next thing I would say is nutrition, the things that you're putting into your body. But I think that what's really important to say is that everything is a frequency in this reality. You know, it's a vibration of light or sound. And so every friend that you hang out with and have conversations with has a effect on your vibration. The food you eat, the news media that you're taking in, the books and movies that you're watching and reading, you know, the podcasts you're listening to, right? So all of these things have an effect on our vibrational state. And I think that it's just as important as it is to eat whole foods and organic foods and to be healthy in our nutrition. We have to look at the way we talk to ourselves. We have to look at the friends we're hanging out with and all the stuff that we're taking in. That is all input vibrationally too. And so I think that's a really important thing to look at, you know, for the healing process.
Um, just wanted to ask you about sleep because I'm struggling with it right now. I'm sure many of our listeners are.
Mhm.
So your sound frequency, if I put on just before I sleep, how long before, and should I put it on during the night? So it's going in subconsciously?
Yeah, so some people like music when they sleep. And I would say if you're a person that likes to sleep to music already, frequency music can be a huge addition to listen to all through the night. It can help you stay asleep and have a deeper sleep by listening to those tones while you're sleeping. There's going to be some people who are not used to music when they sleep and like silence and quiet. And so I would say about 30 minutes before you're ready for bed, I would listen to the music for about 20, 30 minutes. And then, you know, kind of down regulate to where you're able to do some breath work, you know, with the music while you're getting set up for sleep and just kind of, you know, nothing crazy, just 10 breaths or so in, hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale. And a lot of times you'll give people visual techniques. Like one of the ones that I really like is breathing in to the emotional feeling that you're looking for the next day. Like what would I like to set up my morning to be, right? So you're breathing in and you're holding that, and then when you're exhaling, what you're visualizing is black smoke. And so the black smoke is being collected from all of the worry, the fear, the anxiety, and then you're visually, mentally visualizing blowing that worry and fear and stress out of the body. And so giving it that black smoke is giving it a visualization to have it leave. And so we, as what we have seen through different studies, is that visualization technique is so big for the brain to wrap its head around. Okay, I'm letting go of these emotional feelings and I'm tying it to this visualization of smoke, and it is leaving my body. And so you're setting yourself up to be emptied and relaxed, and then setting yourself up for what the vision of the next morning is. Waking up being refreshed, being, you know, full of energy, and just having a peaceful day, right? So that's something that you would visualize when you're breathing in. And the things you're breathing out is that fear, anxiety, worry, and you're watching it blow away with black smoke, right? So those types of exercises can be very powerful and effective, and the music can be a tool to hold that vibration with you.
That's a really helpful tip because as
Mhm.
soon as you switch off from the day, that's when all the thoughts start coming in, and you want to be listening to soothing music, not uh, like a really fast-paced music where it's stimulating you even more and more, and you can't. It's like 2 o'clock, and you still can't go to sleep because you were listening to stimulating music. Yeah, that really helps because yeah, I'm struggling with my sleep right now as well. So I'm thinking about putting on something in the background where it kind of helps me switch off completely away from not wanting to be on my phone at all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the phone is
Yeah.
the biggest thing. Like it's
It
really
is.
hard to detach from it.
It'll suck you in for
Yeah,
sure. Yes. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Um, so you have 700 songs. They're all frequency focused. Um,
We have about 1,500 songs now. It's, yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
It's a
that's
big,
quite a lot. Like that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we have a big catalog, and it's everything from like kirtan music and yoga music to shamanic drumming and deep meditation, sound bath music. So there's a lot of different styles too.
Right. So what was the, so you combined it basically everything together and something will help someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that the playlists are put together is like we have an album for pain relief. We have an album for sleep. We have an album for releasing trauma. We have an album for shamanic drumming. We have an album for called Mind Peace. We have movement meditations. Like, so people will use those movement meditation albums when they go hiking or they're walking the dogs, or just things like that where they're moving their body, doing yoga, things like that. So we have what I would say is a playlist or album for every occasion, a lot of different things.
That's amazing because then you have a category you can be you can look for me it'd be sleep, somebody else it'd be something else, like so it's easier to kind of get to. So I'm really I'm intrigued. I really want to get one of those albums, especially the sleep one.
Yeah,
That'll be an
yeah, yeah,
interesting one for me. Um,
yeah.
so um, we talked about the, like, obviously emotional and mental aspect of these frequencies. So what's happening on a physical level for them?
Yeah. So what's really interesting is like when you teach someone to breathe, right? Conscious breath, not just breathing to survive, but a conscious breath where you're putting thought into the breath work. And I think that people see it as kind of a woo-woo thing, but when you explain the science of it, people say, "Oh, I get that. That makes sense," right? And what I mean by that is if I take a person who's very stressed, a lot of times they will not realize how shallow they're breathing. When you're stressed and you're worried and you're fearful, your breathing's shallow and you're not getting full oxygen into your bloodstream and creating circulation in your body. And what happens with more oxygen in your body creates more circulation of the blood, and then more circulation of the blood creates more optimization between all of your body organs. So your brain starts working on a more optimal level. Your lungs, your digestion, all of these different things start working at an optimal level, which makes your job easier to go through the day, right? Less stress, less tax on the body, and more ease. And so when that happens, people are like, wow, this is so crazy that just breathing can make such a difference like that. And so it's the same thing like when we introduce the music and you can see people's shoulders drop where they're like real tense, and then the music comes on and you see them kind of slouch or relax a little bit more, and then they start really breathing and they can feel this difference in their body. So I think the biggest thing is that sound is one of the first things that we recognize when we come in, like when we're in our mother's womb. Our first acclimation to this reality is sound. Like we can hear everything and feel those vibrations through the womb. And I think that as we start using this as a tool to get acclimated in a different way to our environment, to set up a barrier or to set up a defense mechanism against high levels of stress, it's just a no-brainer that this is going to be one of the first things that has such a profound effect. And when you see the entrainment process, like you've seen the different studies where they'll have like bells with food with animals, or like the way that we become accustomed to like a theme song for a TV show. Like when it comes on, it gives you these feelings because you've spent time with these characters and you've developed a connection to a show, and that music comes on and it makes you feel a certain way. It's very nostalgic. It's very much the power of music. Like when you listen to music in high school and then you go back and you listen to that music again and it pulls up all those emotions and feelings. There's such an entrainment process with this that why not use it for a powerful form of healing and release work, right? So it's on a cellular level. music has an effect on our cells, because like if anyone has seen cymatics, right, which is like where the sand on the plates vibrate and it makes those different geometric shapes, and you see the water forming and creating geometric shapes when it's introduced to sound. Our bodies are responding internally in a very similar way. Our cells and the water that our body is made of is responding to sound and the vibrations. And if you've ever gone to like a loud concert where you can feel the
Yeah.
vibrations from the
Mm.
speakers, and it's just there's a feeling that comes over your body that is not like anything else. Like I think the power of music is very, very powerful in its interaction with the soul on a spiritual level, and all, as well as the physical body. You know, people will talk about how the hair stands up on their necks on certain parts of songs, or they'll feel these emotions that'll make them cry or laugh. And so it's just such a powerful experience. Music is constantly interacting with us on a physical level in some form or fashion.
Yeah, oh, 100%. And the sound itself, like I can't remember who is it, Dr. Imitsu? I can't remember his full name, but
Yeah.
he did a water experiment where he spoke like love and unconditional love and things like that to the water. And then there
Hmm.
was like the hate and anger, and the water came out like I think he froze it. I think he froze it and it came out um in a very different, like you can tell you're
Yes.
nodding your head. You obviously heard of this experiment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dr. Emoto,
yeah.
so they did the two experiments. One was with the rice and the water, and then
Mm-hmm.
the other one was with the actual freezing of the water and the designs of the kind of crystal snowflake,
Yeah.
effect. Yeah. And what's interesting is the one that was talked to in a hateful manner was actually not the worst one. The worst one that they found was the ones that they just excluded. They didn't talk to at all. They neglected. And that was actually
Mm.
worse than the ones that got the harshness. Like, I hate you, you're dark, no one likes you. But the one that they just neglected, that was the one that actually turned black, and it like got really just gross and mold, and it was just really interesting. So
Wow, that kind of be
yeah.
said in our relationships around us as well. Like call in on people, whether if somebody's feeling alone and isolated, they may be okay putting a mask on, but inside it's them like
Yeah.
turning into complete numbness,
Yes. Yeah.
darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes on how, as humans, we need to be touched and held and hugged and shown love,
Mm,
and just the connection to that we have to other living beings is just so powerful. And I think it just really speaks volumes into that. So
yeah,
yeah.
100%. I think like
Mhm.
during the COVID times, we lost that, and I think a lot of people struggled with their mental health during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the human touch and hugs and that the deeper intimacy
Yeah.
is what we need. And I think sometimes, like obviously this is a whole new subject about trauma and parents, and like the avoidant and the action anxious, and so it's it's needed to for us to even feel safe and secure out in the world and feel emotionally regulated. And once we're in that space, anything that happens in our life, we know we're okay emotionally. We're okay, and because we're okay emotionally, we're able to process it. We're okay physically as well, because that's the root cause of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
so tell me about your affiliate program at Listening to Smile. What is it and how is it different?
Yeah. Well, I think what makes it so different is that there's nothing in the world truly like it right now. And it's because what we're wanting to do is create level playing field between the people who are utilizing the music and the creators of the music, myself and some of the other musicians that create the music. we're really wanting to create a value that is empowering us as the creators of the music, but also the people who are utilizing it. So, what that looks like is if someone signs up as an affiliate with Listening to Smile for the year, what they're getting is they're getting two free albums when they sign up, plus the month they sign up for. So they're starting off with three albums right off the bat. And then each month they receive a download that has all of the frequency information and then all of the astrology information for that month. And then there's videos that they can watch as well as descriptions like write-ups that goes with each track. So if they want to share that track in a session, like a coaching session or a community environment, like a group meditation or a sound bath, they have something that really connects them intimately to the music that they can share and express and help the listeners to gain a deeper connection to the music. And then they're able to resell the music, use it on their podcast. They can use it on commercials for their business. They can use it on social media like Reels for Instagram and YouTube channels. And it just gives them a way that they can totally have this frequency-based music to support pretty much every avenue of their business, and then also create extra revenues like creating guided meditation albums, creating courses that have the music embedded in it. They can create online events and in-person events that they're charging tickets to come see them do a performance with the music. And that means that they could do a guided meditation or live coaching, sessions with the music. So it really opens up a lot of avenues, not only for branding with a frequency-based music, but also creating multiple revenue streams from interacting with the music.
Oh, amazing. And I love that you have the astrology in there as well, so they can be in tune to almost everything really, and see what's going on
Yeah,
with the planets as well.
yeah,
What am
yeah.
I listening to? Okay, the it's I don't know, Venus and thing. Okay, love songs.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
I love it.
definitely.
I love
Yeah.
it. So like when I was obviously, I was looking up, researching you basically, just looking
Mhm.
up your social media, and so you've reached so many people worldwide. Um, how did you imagine your music reaching so many places, and how has it impacted so many communities?
Yeah. I think by the power of God, truly. When I started making this music, I just felt really called to do it. And I didn't know that it was actually going to become a living for me,
Mm.
where it was going to be a full-time job. It was just something that I felt that I had to do. And I just started, getting it done. And slowly, I was just really fortunate that God brought a lot of neat people into my life. Kyle Kingsbury was friends with Paul Check, and I got on Paul Check's podcast twice. And, some of those podcasts hit 70 and 80,000 views on YouTube. And then he said it was higher on Spotify and
Mm.
Apple Music or iTunes or whatever. And because of that popular interaction with those platforms with Paul, it led to like working with like celebrity chef Pete Evans and MMA fighter Kyle Kingsbury. And
Mm.
so their communities just started embracing the music, becoming affiliates, people signing up to do coaching. And it just was a blessing being able to work with people on a coaching level and for them to see the real time shifts that the music could have. And I think people would say stuff like, "I can't believe that music can do this," so for me, it was just kind of standing back and watching the power of God through the music interact with people and bring the right people that needed it at the time into those matchups. And so it was just something that was truly just a blessing, and it's just continued to grow. We're in 10 different countries now with our affiliate program. So
Oh,
it's
that's
really
beautiful.
cool.
And it's going to grow
Yeah.
even more and more because, it's like, what would they say is that universe will not put this vision, an idea, or creativity in your mind or in your head or out there if it was not attending on making your dreams come true on a wider, bigger scale. And that's where you
Yeah.
talk about all the right people come at the right time to support that journey of yours, and which is beautiful to
Yeah.
see. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and so we're going to give a percentage off if any of your listeners want to sign up for an album or they want to sign up as an affiliate and get part of the program. They'll get a reduced price code from you that will make sure that you have to put into the liner notes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that way that they have a reduced price. And then it also portion of that sale will go to support the podcast and your community and what you guys are doing. And so we just really believe in that kind of synergy exchange. So any kind
Yeah.
of support that's given to us will be given back to you as well. So
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to working with you as well. That's like, oh, spoiler alert.
yeah,
It's gonna be
yeah,
amazing. I think this is yeah, everything when everything aligns, it just aligns. You just know it. You just know it.
yeah.
Um, so what's next for you? What's your vision from here?
Well, we're getting ready for South by Southwest. It's a big music festival here in Austin, Texas. That's where I'm located. And so we've got three events that we're doing with South by Southwest. And then we're going on a 12 date tour through the Southeast, doing some of these in-person events this next month. And we're just gearing up. We have some mini courses that are coming out. One's on creativity called The Ultimate Creative. And it's about how creativity is such a powerful healing tool. And it's just a little mini course that people can do um, with at home, with the music.
Mhm.
And so we're just gearing up for our little tour, the South by Southwest Festival, and then some of these mini courses that we're going to be putting out. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. When are you coming to the UK?
Well, I would love to come to the UK. So let's make that a priority this year. That'd be super cool to
Yeah,
do
that'd
that.
be
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, and I'll come to America as well, and we'll be chilling.
Yeah, yeah. I think you would really like Austin. There's a lot of tech and a lot of podcasting here. There's
Hmm.
some of the largest podcasters in the world are all here in Austin, so it's really cool. Like Joe Rogan's here, Lex Friedman's here,
Yeah.
Aubrey Marcus is here. If you're familiar with those guys, those are some really big podcasters. But yeah, they're all here in Austin, so it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
incredible. Yeah, so I'm definitely coming.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my God, Ian, it's been incredible. I've actually got rapid fire questions for you, which I kind of grill all of my
Okay.
guests towards the end of the interview.
Yeah,
So are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Right, cool. What is your definition of universe, life, God?
I think love. I think that's what first comes to mind. Just rapid fire is love. I think when you look at all the religions and you look at all the things that truly bring people happiness, I think it's the connection to love.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think happens when you die?
Mm. I think we definitely, just from everything that I have connected to on a emotional, personal level, and then also externally looking, I think that we have to, I would imagine, go through some kind of judgment for our life. And I think it's not what we think, but it's a self-reflection examination of, did I live my most authentic and truest self in this lifetime? And did I accomplish the things that I was sent here to accomplish? And I think it's just I want to believe that yeah, that we basically form the ability to either come back and make amends, or that we have the ability to go into something else deeper, on a spiritual level. So that's kind of my belief, I guess.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. It's like, when you're like reflecting, it's like, oh no, I missed a bit. Gotta go back.
Yeah, yeah,
Missed a bit. Can't clean up
yeah.
that here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What's the lesson that took you the longest to learn?
Oh man, lack and poverty for sure.
Mm, mm,
It was I think what I came to terms with is that money is not bad. And people that have money that were around me seemed to be jerks, and I didn't like the way they treated people, so I assumed that my beef was with money, but it
mm,
actually is just people. And people can be have money and be amazing with the way they treat people and the way that they use it as a tool to help upgrade the world. And so I'm starting to find more of those people in my life, and I'm starting to find more attachment to abundance and ease. And I think it's something that was the longest lesson for me to kind of drill into my head,
mm.
that money is not bad and that people that have money are not always bad, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh
yeah.
my God, that is so bang on, especially when you're on the spiritual path. You have to. That is one of the lessons to like the 3D as well, because you're living in it. Your money is, materialism is, and you can do a lot of good with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Love it. Um, do you believe that people with horrible beginnings end up creating the best futures?
um, I would tend to say yes.
Hmm.
And the reason that I say that is because a person that has truly seen hell, right, has really been through the fire. I think that they have a different type of energetic compassion towards people that are going through the same. And I
Mm,
think that they tend to be some of the nicest, most loving people because they have seen such harshness. And I think people that there are people who are exceptions to that rule. But
mm.
I think that for the most part, we have to be able to see the darkness so that we can become the light.
Beautiful. Love
Yeah.
it. Oh, I love it. I love it. You speak as a vice mate, like we're gonna be best friends. I think we're gonna be best friends. Um, so I'm fully in present moment when.
Mm. I think it happens quite a bit when I'm in the studio. I'll hit a flow state. And I
Mm,
think that flow state, there is no time. There, like, I remember being with partners, like girlfriends, that would come into my studio and they're like, "You've been in here for 14 hours straight."
I
And,
was like,
and
what?
like, yeah. And I'm like, "No way." And then they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, they're like, "You haven't ate any food today." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And, so it's like, I just kind of detach from time and space and I'm like in this zone. And I think that that's where I feel the most alive and most like I'm living my purpose,
Yeah.
is when I'm in that flow state. So I would say like whether it's painting or poetry or creating music, when I'm in that flow state is like when I'm the most alive and connected to spirit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it like we do when we're really in that flow state, we forget to eat, and then you're just like, oh, we're fasting. We're fasting. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
I'm
so
like that
fun.
with my podcast. It's like when I'm really in flow, it's like I don't want to be disturbed. I'm like, creating
Mhm.
magic. And before I know it, I haven't even eaten anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Love it. I love
definitely.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so do you believe that there is an end to healing?
I'm going to say no. The reason I think is because we're always upgrading and evolving, and no matter how spiritually, um, how much work we've done spiritually, I think that there's always something. And I think if you're in an intimate relationship in any form or fashion, it's an ever ongoing process. Like every time you think, I'm good, I've done my work,
Mm,
I'm doing good, something will come up and challenge you and show you like you got more work to do, you
yeah,
know? And
yeah.
I think that I remember Deepak Chopra saying that spirituality and consciousness is a journey, it's not a destination, it's
Mm,
and so I think that this life will forever be a journey. While we're alive, we always have more work to do, you know?
beautiful. Yeah, and then lifetimes and lifetime we missed a bit and come back and it's yeah. Yeah, yeah. I get it. Um, the world needs more of what?
I think people living their dream, you know? Yeah,
Yes, creating
yeah,
nature in
yeah,
flow. That's like, and that needs to be paid. That needs to be
yes,
paid.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I had a friend that just came back from Egypt, and he said that there was bands in Egypt that were paid by the government to go around and play at all these public events. And
Really?
he was, yeah. And so I was just thinking like how we need more um subsidizing, more patronage towards the arts, especially human creativity with AI coming out,
Mm,
where, it's like trying to take over art and music and all these different things. It's like there's tools of AI, and AI can be a great tool. I think it's a very helpful tool in a lot of different ways, but I think that us getting away from human creativity is a mistake. And I think that we are here to be creators and
mm,
to be living out our life purpose through our dreams. Everybody knows what their dream is. Like people say, I don't know. And I'm like, I think you do know. I think you
mm,
do, but you're afraid to confront it because it's challenging. How am I going to make a living? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? But I
mm.
think the world will be a better place with more people living out their dreams.
Beautiful. Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree. Totally agree. What is that one message that you would like to share with someone who's going through spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, adversity, and can't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now? What would you say to them?
Buckle up, Buttercup. so so I just want to say it with the biggest love in my heart and the biggest smile on my face, like just you wait, like this is the best part. This is, that you're about to really experience life as you're supposed to, because this is the transition point. And if you weren't here, I'd feel really sorry for you. But right now, I'm just happy for you because you're about to go on that roller coaster ride that's going to just set you free,
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's one of the most beautiful things that there is. And I think if you can meet someone in that space holding that love, then maybe they kind of laugh with you as you're going down together on the roller coaster.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love it. Oh my God. It reminds me of this like funny video I watched on Instagram. There's like, what does a spiritual awakening look like? And there's this guy who's rolling down the hill and comes out as like all bruised. Oh, but there's beauty as well,
Yeah,
right? In it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing. How can people contact you?
So Ian at listeningtosmile.com is my email address. Listeningtosmile.com is the website. And then if they look up on Spotify, Listening to Smile has a couple albums of sample, that they can listen to. And then we also have on YouTube, we have a channel that has testimonials, podcast, which yours will be up on there,
Yes.
eventually, and has samples of music on there. So that's just Listening to Smile on YouTube that you can find the channel.
Beautiful, amazing. Oh my God, Ian, this has been amazing, incredible interview. Oh my God, I'm so glad that we connected. Like
Yeah,
so much, I've learned so much off you today, like the frequency and you personally, because that's how we connect, right? This is how yeah. Oh, also, thank you for sharing your story and being vulnerable enough to share your story. And I hope that
yeah,
this gives our listeners that hope and encouragement to maneuver in this life, to navigate in this life. So thank
yeah,
you, thank you.
yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was. Thank you. We're gonna be best friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta come to the UK. We
Yeah, and I
gotta
gotta
make
come
that
to
happen.
America. We're gonna
Yeah.
make this happen.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of our award winning podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. You can follow us on Instagram, Madiha Sosan 1, and YouTube, Madiha Sosan, for more content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your family and friends, and let us know your thoughts on social media. A special thanks to our sponsors, the Resonance Center, for making it possible to use this beautiful space, and Razia's Bonton Salon for my amazing shiny hair and makeup. You can find this and other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Thank you once again for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.